suppliers here in India. How are you leveraging that for critical components like the engine and other components, and where do you see this JV at the Volvo Group level? Of course, 25 years, so that's a big achievement. Where do you look at this JV growing?
Well, the JV also has done, I think it's the 17th year now. And so I think I would say, historically speaking, and if you look at the Indian CE automotive industry, it's one of the most successful joint ventures that have worked. And a joint venture where Volvo had a 50% share, but then diluted it to 42%, but did not change the way we work. So we have a very strong relationship. We are working on, of course, a lot of technology transfer both ways, not just one way. We manufacture our 5 and 8 liter engine only in Pithampur.
Yes.
The only plant in the world we manufacture the base engine. Of course, we do complete that engine in some other places additionally because of the specific needs of those locations. But it is the mother plant for the 5 and 8 liter in India. And and then if you look at the Pro Eicher range of trucks, which was engineered in Volvo engineering centers, but then manufactured and sold as a Eicher. So I think the joint venture has gone quite deep, and we have fantastic solutions both from the Eicher platform and the Volvo platform available through that. I think we need to leverage even more. They also have many other capabilities in the Eicher engineered components and other areas where we can leverage much more. Today, yes, we are leveraging the engine platform quite a lot in the construction equipment space, but I would say that there is more to come.
So how many base engines would you be able to precisely tell us? How many base engines?
We are using two of the Eicher base engines, and then of course the 5 and 8 liter platform of the Volvo range that is also manufactured is also used in the Volvo CE range globally. The 8 liter we will start to use next year also on our EC300s.
And which is the next perhaps JV or a tier 2 or a tier 3 supplier that comes closest to Eicher? Because we've not heard that deeply. So just trying to understand.
So any other partner you mean to say from the supplier?
So Eicher is responsible largely for your engines and other critical components.
For hydraulic cylinders, for example, we have Wipro. They are one of our big global vendors, not just in India. And then of course there are many, in the hydraulic systems we have some Japanese suppliers. Kayaba is one of them. And then we have quite a few strategic suppliers in Korea because that's our mother excavator plant. And in fact, be able to just talking about supplier in bringing suppliers to India, we got worked hard during the COVID period to get some suppliers from Korea to actually come and invest in India on undercarriage parts, which was not being manufactured in India at all. And two of our vendors have set up shop, one in Chennai, one in Pune, to make undercarriage parts. And that's a very big sign of and they of course not just supply to us once they make it, they will also supply to others. But we were able to help them get the necessary support on the ground in India to help them actually make those investments in India. So yes, we do work on those areas.
Now coming on to the last leg of questions very quickly, the focus has been on greener mobility solutions, even in the CV space. Electromobility, AI has been the recent buzzword, but I remember these words being uttered by you in 2019. So tell us about how phased or unfazed are you with this recent traction in electromobility and the AI realm of things, and how is Volvo CE placed in India and globally?
But let's take it from a global point of view. 2019, we unveiled the...
2019, we took a bold step to be the first one to completely actually transition the compact segment into electromobility. And it was the first step for us. And we didn't know much about the technology, so it was really out of conviction. It was really out of conviction that we'll see the transition and we needed to be ahead of the curve. And then we learned a lot during the journey. And now what we see is that, as I announced earlier, we are now coming out with a machine on the larger scale of the segment. There is, the movement is happening. And then we can always question the speed of the movement, how fast it goes, and then depends, of course, on the region, depends on the application. But clearly we see that it's happening. The gap in terms of TCO is closing, and we continue to invest in this globally. And we are looking not only on battery electric vehicle, we're looking at fuel cell, and we're looking at also combustion engine with hydrogen. So we are looking really at the different options, because we think there will be different solution for different use case,
Right.
and that's globally. And if I just put the picture, Europe is ahead because of course a lot more incentives also given by government. Now we
Right.
see that with the IRA, the US is catching up.
Right.
And then we see that in China has been highly incentivized
Right.
for that. And then we see now in other part of the world some interest, like where the customers would like to test some machine in some specific application because that also helps to address some challenges. One example is in mining electric. So there's no emission.
Right.
So when you work in confined environments, so that is something that we see. And noise as well. Electric brings level of noise lower. So when you work in cities, it's also an important part. And then for India, maybe you want to.
So I think definitely the early adoption needs government support. FAME program and FAME scheme that government launched for automotive has been very successful, and today the adoption rate is such that they need not have to support certain segments with any incentives. But I think in the construction equipment space, our view is that the government needs to provide some subsidies and provide some support. We have been working with ICEMA through the Electromobility sub-panel that we have there to talk to government, particularly the heavy industries ministry, on this topic, and we hope that there will be some move in that space to make the adoption more suitable. Right now, it's mostly it's the early adopters,
Right.
people who see a value in sustainable solutions, the people who want to change the operations to make it much more greener, reduce the footprint. So it's mainly cement industry, steel industry, ports. These are the kind of segments who are today interested, and they are getting tremendous value because we brought a new business model to do the electric business using the EAS business model. And that's really working for us so far.
Right.
But we would like to see it grow faster than what we are seeing today. Right. But that's, that's the market dynamic.
You all take great pride in offering customized aftermarket support.
Yeah.
So, word on the challenges and, of course, why it has clicked with your customer. It's definitely a very complex and demanding
Customer base.
Yes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think one of the things in India is that we use machines much more every day and much longer period of the time.
Right.
So we have machines that clock 20 hours a day in mining segment, for example, in coal mining, 20 to 22 hours.
Some would border it on machine.
We have machines that have clocked 7,800 hours in a year. You would suddenly wonder, are there so many hours in a year actually? So that's the level of utilization in some cases. So obviously that comes with reliability and durability that we build in the product.
Right.
So that's very crucial for long duration. So at the same time, it is not impossible to operate machines without the right level of parts availability and the quick response to service.
Right.
So when we have launched the 210 now, what we are doing is on the retail customer, for the retail customer who is very spread out, we have worked with our distribution partners to increase the number of touch points from where they can get service.
Right.
We are making it easier with the launch of an app, so the customer can, today we have a toll-free number. The customers call us.
It's printed on the machine.
In almost all machines, you have this number which is there. And then we also now come with an app which was a single press of a button. They can just register the call, and then within an hour, somebody will call and speak to them. But within 48 hours, our promise is that we will restore the machine.
Right.
So this is what we are promising across the country, and for which we have to prepare the entire infrastructure for parts and services.
Right. Is at a certain level prognosis introduced in this for the Indian market, or is it?
No. Yes, we already have. So we have an uptime center. You should visit our.
I visited the Pithampur.
Yeah. No, even in Bangalore, in the Pina factory, we have an uptime center from which we monitor all our machines running in the field. In any critical errors, critical issues coming up, get flashed up, and immediately we contact the customer and we resolve the issues as they happen.
Right. Now to the last couple of questions. We have seen a certain consolidation of group brands. The recent example that was the ABG brand acquisition.
Yeah.
So a word on, is there the conscious decision to look at a more streamlined portfolio with different brands and consolidate these further?
No, obviously, that's one element of it. I think the key with asphalt products that are working on asphalt, either they go with a full range of asphalt. So in our, we bought it over from Ingersoll Rand when we acquired the Ingersoll Rand business, where we did the compaction and the asphalt range.
Right.
The challenge we feel is that it's important to have a full range, like the plants, where you mix the asphalt.
Right.
And many other solutions that are required to make it more successful. We ran it successfully for so many years, but we believe that the asphalt range works better with a full range of asphalt player, and hence, the agreement with Aman, who have acquired our paver business, which fits nicely into their portfolio and completes it. And we believe that that is where that business will grow faster, better, and so we are right in the middle of actually doing all of that. We've closed the transaction, but we still have handing over activities which we are working with them.
Right.
I think the last one.
Just the last question. Yes, just the last question. Summing up headwinds and tailwinds for the industry, and of course, since you handle nodal bodies, you're still a part of that. You're mediating with the government very actively. Interim budget has gone by, so the full budget coming in. Anything that you feel will deviate from the interim budget, or is on the wish list of the CV industry?
I think the general direction will not change. Okay. I think infrastructure focus will be the focus of this government or any government that comes into power,
right,
because they cannot afford to do anything different, right? I think what I'm reminded of the speech by Mr. Chandrababu Naidu in the NDA's parliamentary forum, and he said a very small phrase: regional aspiration and national growth, right? So I think that is where we will see, interestingly, I feel that's a good sign of where it will head. There will be much more focus on the state level activities, and which is really good for India, because we need all states in the country to move faster, become much more prosperous as what is happening at the national scale, right? So I think that will be probably the flavor, in my opinion. It's just speculation, but just is my opinion that that's how it should go. But I think general direction should not be any difference when it comes to infrastructure progress.
Right. Would you like to just add on, on the backdrop of the launches that you mentioned globally, a global slowdown and this uptick in the Indian context? Yes. Where do you see the Indian CEV segment moving going forward, maybe a 5-year outlook in your experience?
No, definitely we haven't been, we see that the market will continue to grow. There's a high correlation to GDP in the construction equipment, and then of course the commodity influences some of the segment, mining in particular. So we see that, we know that it's gonna continue to grow, and we want to be present there. We have higher aspiration and expectation in the market to actually be a stronger partner in developing the infrastructure. So definitely it's a focus market for Volvo construction equipment.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for being patient.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Time is always short.
Thank you.
Such an engaging conversation.